real increase in disputes between competing family members and service providers. In February, Facebook offered customers in America the option of deleting an account when they die, or appointing a friend or relative to take control of some parts of it. But that doesn't apply here. In a statement, they said, when a person passes away, their account can become a memorial to their life. The profile no longer appears in public spaces, so that grieving friends and family can continue to view the comments, photos, and posts of their loved ones. But that wouldn't include private messages on Becky Palmer's site, with many cherished memories of her daughter locked up online. Louise relies increasingly on a few home videos for comfort. By columnist BBC News.
Wait, I'm sitting outside again, Sharon.
Oh yeah, I'll be out soon. It's just cooling down a bit.
Are you going to watch what you do with your pension?
The main parties there don't run candidates in other
Well,
parts
she's going to
of
be
the
55
UK.
in it.
You, I'm talking about.
I haven't got a bloody pension.
I'm going to pass one of Chris Butler, who's been looking at what the parties would do in the event of a close finish.
It's a close run thing between what inspires the greater passions on this island, racing or politics. But it's clear a win is just as satisfying in an election as it is in a course.
Who's going to win the election in Jeff?
I think it's very
The
good.
DUP holds almost half of those seats. Unlike all of the other parties, they've been studying the cause. In a very tight election, the Democratic Unionists believe they could be in a strong position to make a deal with any party hoping to hold the government.
Well, I think the DUP is recognised as one of the pivotal players in a hung parliament. Our position is very clear. We will do the best deal for Northern Ireland and the country as a whole, and that will be either the Conservatives or the Labour Party.
In Northern Ireland, people still tend to vote along tribal lines. So those who see themselves as British, they tend to vote for Unionist parties, and those who see themselves as Irish, they tend to vote for Nationalist or Republican parties. And sometimes that can lead to negative campaigning, because even if somebody's candidate doesn't get through, they don't want the other side to be a winner. And to try to win more seats, the two biggest Unionist parties have agreed a pact in a small number of constituencies. But that's angered nationalists.
I think it's reprehensible. I think it's irresponsible, because what a unionist pact is, indeed what any pan-nationalist pact would be, is a sectarian head pact.
However, the issue of Northern Ireland's very place in the UK remains a big campaigning issue.
Well, and I see no profit in the majority of our 18 MPs being non-unionists, and that was and remains a real danger.
The political race here is often seen as a straight contest between what some call the orange and green, unionists and nationalists, and that's difficult for parties which rely on cross-community support.
Well, I think people tend to go back to the orange and green as a form of distraction politics, because actually a lot of our parties are very weak when it comes to real politics.
But not all winners claim their prize. Republicans and Sinn Féin refuse to sit in the British Houses of Parliament, and they insist there's no chance of that changing.
It would be a clear disaster if the Tories get back in. I don't think they're going to get back in. I think the SNP are going to make the difference in this vote. And
potentially you can be part of that.
Well, we don't want to be part of what's happening in the British Parliament.
Politics is unpredictable, but in this election, a lot could be riding on the sun's in Northern Ireland. Chris Butler, BBC News, Royal Westminster.
Prince Harry has arrived in Australia for a 4-week replacement with the Australian Defence Force. He laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown Australian soldier in Canberra before officially reporting for duty with the country's Special Forces. From Sydney, Phil Mercer reports.
It was a sombre start to Prince Harry's trip to Australia, when he remembered the nation's war dead in Canberra. He laid a wreath at the tomb of the unknown soldier. The Prince's trip will be briefly interrupted later this month, when he heads to Turkey for commemorations to mark the disastrous Allied campaign of Gallipoli in 1915. Among The victims were thousands of troops from Australia and New Zealand. It's their sacrifice that has forged the Anzac legend. Outside, there was an enthusiastic welcome for the British Royal. Australia is a constitutional monarchy, and the Queen is the head of state. But despite strong Republican sentiment in some quarters, there remains a great respect for the royal family here.
This is Prince Harry's only scheduled public appearance during his month-long attachment with the Australian military. He'll spend time with regiments in Sydney, Perth and Darwin. A crowd of several hundred people has braved the rain here at the National War Memorial in Canberra to greet him.
He's lovely, very friendly, shook our hand, very excited, very genuine guy.
They're Australians royal family as well as England, so it's very nice to see them coming to Australia often.
This is Prince Harry's third visit to Australia, but it will be no holiday as he approaches the end of his army career back home. The Prince will spend time with Special Forces commandos in Perth and with an Indigenous surveillance unit in the Northern Territory. Phil Mercer, BBC News, Canberra.
Now, just before we go, if you overloaded on chocolate yesterday, you may want to look away. As the world's biggest handmade Easter egg has just been revealed in Argentina. About 50,000 people gathered on Sunday in the western city of Bariloche to have a look and a taste of this giant Easter treat. It was built by more than 70 local students. Almost 8,000 kilograms of chocolate went into making this. Say, it stands at 8.5 meters high and 6 meters. Beginning to over-egging. There's more throughout the afternoon on the BBC News channel. We're back at 6:30 this evening. Now on BBC One, it's like news where you are. From me, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Investigations are continuing after a 16-year-old boy died when he fell from cliffs at Berwick. Northumbria police were called to Spittal Point early on Sunday morning. Joshua Smith was rescued from the sea and taken to Wandsbeck General Hospital where he later died. The incident has been referred to the police watchdog, the IPCC, as a matter of routine. The first sunny spell of the year is attracting the annual influx of bikers to the hills and dales of North